Level 1, Week 1. You sit in a narrow room behind a warehouse office, concrete walls, a metal desk bolted to the floor, one chair, one phone, nothing else, no windows. The air smells like dust and old cardboard. A security camera hums quietly in the corner. It doesn't blink. It doesn't need to. Someone is always watching. This is your first week. Your job description was simple. Courier. Move envelopes from one place to another. No questions, no conversations, no curiosity, just movement across the city. You glance at the hallway outside the door. Every door has 2 locks. Heavy ones, industrial steel. That tells you something important. Whatever happens here is not meant to leave this building. The phone on the desk vibrates once. A text, just an address. No greeting, no instructions. You already know what it means. You stand up. On the desk sits a thick sealed envelope, matte gray, no markings, no names, just weight. You pick it up. It's heavier than paper should be. When you reach the car outside, curiosity almost wins. Almost. But you already understand the first rule of this place. People who look inside things disappear from the system. So you drive. 20 minutes across the industrial district. Empty streets, silent buildings. You stop in front of a small storefront with blacked out windows. A man opens the door before you even knock. He doesn't greet you. He doesn't ask your name. He just takes the envelope. Then he hands you another one. This one is slightly open. Inside, stacks of cash. More money than a normal courier would earn in months, maybe a year. You pause just for a second. This wasn't part of the job description, but the man is already closing the door. No explanation, no receipt, just silence. You sit back in your car. The envelope rests on the passenger seat. You know exactly what this moment is. The first compromise, small, quiet, easy to justify. You tell yourself the same thing everyone tells themselves at the beginning. It's temporary, just a delivery, just money, nothing more. Your phone vibrates again, but this time it isn't the Syndicate. It's your younger sibling. A simple message appears on the screen. So, is the new job stable? You stare at the words for a moment, then you type back, yeah, it's stable. Across the city, inside a quiet logistics office you've never seen, someone enters your name into a ledger, not a digital file, a physical book, black cover, thick paper, hundreds of names inside, couriers, accountants, fixers, operators, and now, you. Next to your name, a small note is written. Reliable. You don't see the ledger. You don't hear the pen. But your life has already changed. Because in this system, reliability is the first step. And once your name enters the book, it almost never leaves. Level 2, month 3. 3 months later, you no longer sit in the warehouse. Now you work from a quiet storefront on a narrow street. The sign outside says Express Regional Shipping. Brown letters, cheap plastic board, slightly crooked. To anyone walking past, it looks like another small logistics company struggling to survive. Inside, the system is very different. You sit behind a clean office desk now, a computer, 2 phones, a locked filing cabinet, and a camera above the door, always watching. 3 drivers report to you. They arrive every morning without small talk. They take packages without asking questions, just like you did. At the back of the store, shipments arrive in plain cardboard boxes, each one wrapped in identical gray tape. No labels, no company logos, just numbers written in black marker. You already know what they contain. Some boxes carry cash, vacuum-sealed bundles stacked neatly inside. Other boxes carry encrypted drives, small black devices no bigger than a thumb, data worth far more than the money. Every package has a destination somewhere in the city. Warehouses, offices, private homes, industrial garages, places that exist on no official map. Your job now isn't driving. Your job is organization, tracking shipments, scheduling routes, maintaining records. At least, that's what the paperwork says. But today something changes. A package arrives that shouldn't exist. You check the database, no shipment entry, no sender, no record. Just a gray box sitting on the counter. The driver waiting beside it watches you silently. You already understand what this means. You open the shipment log, your fingers hover over the keyboard. All it takes is one entry. A fake origin, a fake destination, a shipment that officially never happened. This is the first time you are asked to rewrite reality. Not deliver it, not transport it, invent it. You pause, because now the lie isn't physical, it's permanent, records stay forever. But the driver doesn't speak. The camera above the door hums quietly, so you type. One new line appears in the system. Shipment ID 4172. Origin, Warehouse District. Destination, Industrial Zone. Status, delivered. Just like that. The shipment becomes invisible. You lean back in your chair, and suddenly the entire operation becomes clear. This system only works because someone inside it changes the records. Someone like you. That evening, your phone rings. It's your mother. Her voice sounds concerned. Why are you working so late these days? You glance around the office, the empty storefront, the silent cameras, the gray packages waiting to move. You give the simplest answer. Shipping business is busy. She laughs softly, says she's proud of you for working hard. You hang up. Across the city in the same hidden logistics office, the black ledger opens again. Your name appears on a new page. Under your entry, another note is written. Trusted with financial routes. Because by falsifying that shipment log, you didn't just move a package. You moved money outside the system. No banks, no taxes, no government. Just a parallel economy flowing quietly through the city. And now, you help control the flow. Level 3, Year 2. 2 years later, you no longer work from the storefront. You meet in places designed for people with influence. Tonight it's a private room above a luxury restaurant. Dark wood walls, soft lighting, thick carpets that silence footsteps. Outside the room, diners laugh and drink wine. Inside, no one is smiling. You sit at the head of a long table. Not because you own the place, but because the meeting doesn't begin until you arrive. Around the table sit people who operate inside the legal system. 2 lawyers, an accountant, a corporate advisor. Near the door stand 2 security officers, silent, watching everything. No one introduces themselves. They don't need to. Everyone here already understands the structure. The restaurant is legitimate. The companies involved are legitimate. The contracts on the table are legitimate. But the purpose of the meeting is not. A file slides across the table toward you. Inside are documents from a small construction company, family-owned, 30 employees, clean financial history. But the company made a mistake. They refused a partnership offer 6 months ago. They thought the offer was optional. It wasn't. The accountant begins explaining the strategy. 3 steps. First, a legal dispute over delayed materials. Second, a sudden audit triggered by anonymous complaints. Third, a loan agreement offered at the perfect moment. A loan they will not be able to repay. Within months, the company collapses. Assets seized, equipment sold, land transferred, ownership quietly changes hands. All completely legal. Every step approved by courts. Every document stamped and signed. The lawyer stops talking. Now everyone is looking at you, because this deal requires one final approval, your signature. You study the file, photos of construction sites, employee records, families depending on those paychecks, people you have never met. People who don't even know you exist. 2 years ago you moved envelopes. 3 months later you rewrote shipment records. Now, you decide which businesses survive. Your pen rests above the contract. You notice something strange. There's no anger, no hesitation, just a quiet realization. Destroying a company is easier than you imagined. You sign the document. The room relaxes instantly. Papers are collected. The file disappears back into a briefcase. Another business erased from the system. As you leave the restaurant, the city lights reflect off the glass towers outside. Some of those towers are already connected to the network you now manage. Later that night, you sit at dinner with your partner. The restaurant is quiet. Your phone sits on the table, face down, always face down. They notice, they always notice. Why do you do that? They ask. You pretend not to understand. Do what? Hide your phone like that. You give a small shrug. Work stuff. They nod slowly, but they don't look convinced. Across the city, an office is far more powerful than the one above the restaurant. Your influence is expanding. Law firms, corporate boards, regulatory agencies, systems designed to enforce rules, now quietly bending them. Soon, certain judges will recognize your number. Certain regulators will return your calls faster than others, not because they know you personally, but because they know the network behind you. 2 years ago, you were just a courier. Now, you don't move envelopes anymore. You move institutions, and the system is starting to move with you. Level 4, Year 6. 6 years pass. The storefront is gone. The warehouse is long forgotten. Now you work from the top floors of a glass tower in the center of the city. Your office sits on a private floor. The elevator requires a security badge that only 5 people possess. When the doors open, the first thing you see is the view. The entire city spreads below the windows. Highways moving like glowing veins. Office towers full of lights. Government buildings standing quietly in the distance. From up here, everything looks small. Inside the office, the walls are covered with screens. One shows financial flows moving through dozens of corporations. Another shows live surveillance feeds from warehouses, offices, and meeting rooms. A third screen displays political donation records, names, numbers, election cycles, all carefully organized. The network has grown larger than any single business. It now moves through institutions, media companies, law firms, investment groups, security contractors. Your phone vibrates. An encrypted message arrives. A problem has appeared. A whistleblower. Someone inside one of the corporations discovered the financial routes, the parallel accounts, the shell companies. They are preparing to release documents to investigators, evidence that could expose the entire structure. Within minutes, a private call begins. On the screen appear 3 people, an intelligence broker, a legal advisor, and a representative from a private security firm. They don't waste time with greetings, and the intelligence broker summarizes the situation. The whistleblower has already contacted a journalist. Documents exist. Copies may already be stored somewhere. The lawyer explains the legal risk, investigations, court orders, financial seizures. The security representative finally speaks. One sentence. We can remove the problem. The word hangs quietly in the room. Remove. A clean word. A vague word. No one explains what it means. No one needs to. 6 years ago, you would have asked questions. Now you simply look at the file on the screen. A photograph appears. A middle-aged analyst. Someone who spent years inside a financial department. Someone who believed numbers should tell the truth. You sit back in your chair. The city lights flicker outside the glass walls. You understand what the decision represents, not just protecting money, protecting the entire system. If the network collapses, hundreds of people connected to it collapse too. Politicians, executives, judges, media figures. The machine must protect itself. Your finger hovers over the approval screen. For a moment you wonder something simple. Does remove mean silence or death? Then you notice something about yourself. You stop asking. You press approve. The screen goes dark. The operation begins somewhere else in the city. You never received the details. Only the final message hours later. Issue resolved. That evening you leave the tower. 2 security vehicles wait near the entrance. You didn't request them, but they are always there now. Your car moves through the streets surrounded by quiet protection. At home, your child watches through the window as the guards step out of their vehicles. They turn to you with confusion. Why are those men following our car? You pause for a moment, trying to find a simple answer, but there isn't one. Because your life is no longer normal. Your influence now connects systems most people never see. Corporate money, legal authority, Media narratives, political campaigns, invisible threads tying everything together. You're no longer just managing operations. You have become something else, a node inside the network. Information flows through you, money flows through you, decisions flow through you, and when the system needs protection, you are one of the people who decides how far it will go. From the tower above the city, you no longer just influence events. Sometimes, you decide who survives them. Level 5, Year 12, 12 years later. The city no longer feels large to you, because the network you manage now stretches far beyond it. You no longer operate from a single tower. You oversee an entire regional division of the Syndicate, multiple cities, multiple industries, multiple systems quietly connected through the same invisible structure. Your meetings no longer happen in secret restaurants. They happen at private events, luxury estates, closed conferences, invitation-only gatherings where powerful people arrive without security checks. Politicians attend. Corporate executives attend. Even military contractors request private meetings, not because they like you, but because they understand something simple. Your signature moves money, billions of it. Shell companies move funds between jurisdictions. Offshore accounts hide the origin. Investment firms convert illegal revenue into legitimate wealth. A financial system existing quietly beside the official one, and you control a large part of it. Tonight you sit inside a private conference room at your estate. The table is wide. The documents in front of you are thicker than anything you've signed before. A new proposal. Expansion. The Syndicate has already dominated financial manipulation, corporate takeovers, and political influence. But there is another market, one far more profitable. Human trafficking routes moving across multiple borders. The report is cold. Clinical, numbers, transport logistics, revenue projections, profit margins far higher than any corporate deal. Someone at the table explains it carefully. The demand already exists. The infrastructure already exists. The network only needs approval to control it. Silence fills the room. Everyone waits for you. 12 years ago, you delivered envelopes. 6 years ago, you authorized operations without asking questions. Now, entire industries shift depending on what you decide. Your pen rests above the document. For the first time in years, you hesitate. Because this decision is different. Corporate takeovers destroy companies. Political manipulation corrupts systems. But this destroys lives directly. Thousands of them. You stare at the numbers again. Profit projections larger than anything the network has ever seen. The room remains completely still. No one pressures you. They don't need to. They already know how the system works. Power grows by removing limits. Slowly, you sign the document. The decision becomes official. Across multiple regions, operations begin expanding, routes open. New partners join the network. The profits start moving almost immediately. Later that night, you walk through the halls of your estate. The house is enormous, high walls, surveillance cameras, security patrols moving quietly along the perimeter. Your family moved here last year. Protection, they were told. Safety. But the place feels more like a fortress than a home. Your child is already asleep. Your partner barely sees you anymore. Meetings, flights, late-night calls. The network never stops moving. From the balcony, you look out over the dark landscape surrounding the estate, somewhere far beyond those hills. Ships move cargo across oceans. Trucks cross borders. Planes transport assets between countries. Money flows through hundreds of accounts. And somewhere inside that system, people adjust their decisions because of your network. Companies avoid certain contracts. Politicians change policies. Media outlets choose which stories to ignore. Your power has become systemic. You don't just influence events anymore. Entire industries now move carefully around the structure you control. 12 years ago, you told yourself it was temporary, just a delivery, just money. Now the system has grown so large, even you can't fully see where it ends. Final stage. You sit alone in a silent penthouse office. No meetings, no advisors, no security teams waiting outside the door. Just silence. The floor-to-ceiling windows stretch across the wall in front of you. Below them, the city glows. Highways full of headlights. Office towers filled with late-night workers, courts, banks, media buildings. Systems that appear normal, systems that appear stable. But you know the truth, because many of those systems move the way they do, because of decisions you made. Courts that once ruled a certain way. Corporations that quietly changed ownership. Officials who learned which calls to return and which ones to ignore. For 12 years, you helped shape the invisible structure behind the city, a network of money, influence, and silence. Now that structure is beginning to crack. Your phone vibrates once. A secure report arrives. A government task force has formed quietly over the last year. Investigators, financial analysts, cyber intelligence units. They have been following the money, tracing shell companies, connecting offshore accounts, mapping the hidden network piece by piece. You open the report slowly. The first page is a list of names: executives, lawyers, politicians, judges, people who once sat across the table from you, people who once depended on the system you helped build. Most of them thought they were untouchable. Then your eyes stop on the first line, your name, at the top of the investigation, the central node, the person connecting the system together. For a long moment, you don't move, because suddenly something becomes clear. The network was never loyal, not to anyone, not to the people who built it, not to the people who protected it. The system only cared about survival. And now that it is collapsing, everyone inside it is expendable. Your phone vibrates again. This message isn't from the network. It's from your family's security team. Your family has been relocated. Protective custody, new location, new identities. They left the estate this morning, without telling you, without saying goodbye. Another message follows. Your partner refuses contact. Your child asked one question before leaving. Why are people saying, "My parent hurt so many people"? You stare at the screen. For years you justified everything. The money, the influence, the power. You told yourself it was all for them, for security, for stability, for the future. But now, the empire you built cannot protect the only people who ever mattered. Outside the window, the city continues moving like nothing has changed, but you know the chain reaction has already begun. Investigations, arrests, corporate raids, court hearings, one by one, the institutions you once controlled are turning against the network. Executives are cooperating, lawyers are revealing documents, officials are distancing themselves. The structure you helped expand across industries is now collapsing in public. Your rise made the network powerful. Your fall exposes the entire system. And for the first time in 12 years, you finally understand something simple. Power inside a corrupt system was never ownership. It was only temporary control, the kind that disappears the moment the system decides it no longer needs you.